Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to another video. In this one, we're going to be diving into a early look at this week 8, actually, of the NFL here on Draftkings and on FanDuel. I got some positive feedback on the FanDuel portion of last week's, or this past showdown video just on Monday. And if you took the advice and played Sony Michel at captain, you should have done pretty well, or MVP, excuse me. But we're going to jump right into this one. I'm going to try and talk more on value plays that I see coming into the week rather than sitting here and telling you how Russell Wilson and Watson are in good spots, how Fournette and Saquon Barkley are in a good spot, Hopkins and Thomas, oh, those are good plays. So I'm going to talk to you more about some of my favorite value plays that I'm just looking at from an early perspective. Still some news to come out that we need on who's playing and who's not, but we're going to dive right into this one. If you have not already, please do leave a like on this video. I appreciate it much as always. And if you have any questions, comments, concerns, please leave them in the comment section below. I am happy to give y'all advice when I can, whether it's DraftKings, FanDuel, Yahoo, any DFS site, or season-long question. We're going to jump into this one. At quarterback, it's pretty simple for me. For my salary-saving quarterbacks, it's going to be one of these two side-by-side. I don't care if Baker Mayfield is playing this New England defense who just embarrassed Sam Darnold. I'm convinced this New England defense is not all that. Baker Mayfield, honestly, has looked horrible this year. I wanted to show you real quick. He's had 12, 19, 10, 19, 1 against San Fran's defense, who's better than New England's, and then 22.46. I'm okay with playing him against New England. If we jump over here real quick and take a look at who New England has played, if you have not realized this, New England has played an injured Big Ben Roethlisberger. They played Ryan Fitzpatrick. They played Sam Darnold. They played Josh Allen. They played Case Keenum. They played Danny Dimes. They played Sam Darnold. I'm not saying that those guys suck, and I'm not saying that those teams suck. Well, Washington sucks. Miami sucks. Yeah, so we got that going for us. But the only impressive one, really, was the Bills. And Josh Allen, he makes mistakes. That's a great team, but he makes mistakes. That defense is not cut up to be what it is. I'm just convinced it's not. I could bite my tongue on that and then just not say it, but I'm gonna take a dart throw and say the New England defense is not going to be the elite defense by the end of the season, even though they have a pretty easy schedule. But Trubisky, though, seriously, at 4,900 and Baker Mayfield at 5K. Trubisky, in every game he's been healthy this season, excluding the first two, so basically only 2 games. He started off super slow against elite secondaries. I mean, these are 2 of the best secondaries right now in the league. Green Bay, top 5, I would say. Not one of the very best, but then he did better against this weak Washington defense, did horrible against this Minnesota defense, but he didn't really do bad. He was hurt. So a lot of people see this and don't even look at the completions attempts and don't realize he got hurt in that game. Then week 7, obviously, I think most of that was in scrap time, but he did put together a 20-point performance. At 4,900 against that weak Chargers defense that Tannehill didn't look too bad against, I'm okay with plugging in Trubisky as a value play at quarterback. At running back, a lot of my value is actually going to come down in this range here, pretty much sub 5K. Ty Johnson, obviously, it's tough. I feel very upset that my boy Kerryon Johnson has been placed on the injured reserve. Now, Ty Johnson he just looks good. I mean, he looks talented. He looks good. It looks like they want to use him. They wanted to use him before Kerryon even got hurt. He was getting a few touches every single game, so I think he's going to do well. We are going to wait on that, though. I want to see if they activate Trey Carson, and I want to see if they promote Paul Perkins from the practice squad. But there's some news in that Detroit backfield, something to keep an eye on. If we get the right news, we could get some serious edge here going into this week. A lot of people looking just to plug in Ty Johnson for their cash lineups, and he might not necessarily be the best play because we saw what Edmonds did to that Giants team. It could be J.D. McKissick. We're going to find out, though, a little bit closer to Sunday. Matt Breida right below him. Matt Breida, and this is coming from the guy who played Tevin Coleman last week. Tevin Coleman blessed me with 20 touches and fucked me with 8.1 points. There's not much I can do about that. I knew he was going to get the work, but at the end of the day, he only got 20 carries because Breida got hurt. He was probably going to get the majority of, they were probably going to be 16-14 Coleman or something like that, but Breida did get injured in that game. It makes me like Breida a little bit more this week because he seems to just look better. Granted, the game last week was in a thunderstorm, but I like the 2 of the San Fran guys. I think I'm leaning towards Breida this week because Coleman Coleman had the volume last week, and I know it's a nasty weather game and everything. It's hard to run the ball in that sort of a field and everything, but Breida he looks like he might be taking over that backfield, even though they're trying to give Coleman his fair shot coming back into the mix after the injury. Down here at 4,400, David Montgomery, though, also a great value play. Probably not in the same lineup as Trubisky because he's not that involved in the passing game. But I think David Montgomery, even after what we saw last week with almost no usage, it's definitely a more risky play, but it's a good tournament salary saver. So I'm okay with playing D-Mont in tournaments for sure at 4,400. And then I did also want to mention Frank Gore at 4K. Out-snapped Devin Singletary last week, which I hated because I think Devin Singletary should just be running that offense in terms of the running back position. Kind of annoying that Frank Gore's getting these carries when he's like 55,000 years old. So I did want to mention that for running back. Over here at wide receiver, I have some guys I'm locking in. The most expensive one, John Brown, I'm not even going to talk about it. He's playing the worst secondary in the league. He's gone for over 55 yards, I think. Let's see. Over 51 yards every single week this year, and he's consistently getting targets, consistently putting up fantasy points. I'm locking in John Brown against that Philly secondary. I'm not going to explain myself any further. Don't need to. Cortland Sutton. Now, this is where the trades yesterday come into effect. We had Emmanuel Sanders go to the Niners in a pretty good value trade for Denver, and we also had Sanu go to New England for a second-round pick. Probably a better trade for New England than most people think. And then we also saw the Lions trade their star safety Quandre Diggs and a 7th-round pick for a 5th-round pick. And now that was some bullshit, and he went over to Seattle. But I am not really concerned with playing Sanders or Sanu or targeting the Lions secondary now. The one thing that I'm in love with is Cortland Sutton now. I liked Cortland Sutton before. I played him quite a bit, but now with no Sanders there, he's not splitting targets, anything like that. I guess it's a little bit of a boost to Deshaun Hamilton, but I mean, at the same time, I don't even care. Cortland Sutton is the only part of that offense that I will ever play again until I see Phillip Lindsay wake back up, or Royce Freeman take over the backfield, or Joe Flacco actually play like he gives a damn. Now, right here at 4,500, also D.D. Westbrook playing against the Jets. Not even going to talk about the Jets defense. I'm just going to talk about his usage. D.D. Westbrook getting all the love, 6'5", 9, 6'11", 8, 9 targets. And last week went for over 800. I think he's becoming a comfort zone for Gardner Minshew to throw the ball to. I'm okay, and actually I really, really like D.D. Westbrook at 4,500. Now let's jump over to tight end real quick. I'm probably going to be paying up at tight end this week. There's some value down here. If you're looking for value, you got Greg Olsen, who I'm okay with. T.J. Hawkinson is just kind of hit or miss. The volume's there, though. He's getting the targets. So I'm okay with playing him as a value play. I don't really want him in cash. If Chris Herndon comes back this week, I would like Chris Herndon as a tournament play. Other than that, though, that's about all the value I have. Gerald Everett. I mean, if you call 4,300 value, then sure. I think he's a good play now, pretty much from here on out. He seems to be taking over Tyler Higbee's spot as the lead tight end there in the Los Angeles offense. Hunter Henry just getting monster volume. If you're stacking like the Chicago Chargers game, you must have Hunter Henry. I'm okay with Hunter Henry, Gerald Everett, Greg Olsen. I'm okay with all three of them in cash. I'm going to be looking to pay up for Darren Waller personally against this Houston team. Darren Waller's my boy in season long. I hate to play my season-long guys in DFS because it feels like I'm just doing it to do it. But at the same time, it's like, dude, you just can't argue his volume. You can't argue his efficiency. Darren Waller has just been an absolute beast, and I'm not going to stop playing him anytime soon. So I'm glad he finally got in the end zone, though, last week. I'll tell you that. I mean, it's unbelievable to think that he hasn't even gotten a touchdown yet this year. So it was nice to see him get there twice last week. I'm looking to pay up for Darren Waller personally. And then if we come over here to defense, it's hard at defense not to want to play the Pats. I know I mentioned Baker Mayfield, so I'm hoping that a lot of people do play the Patriots, and then I'll just go do a clickety on the Rams defense with Jalen Ramsey, with Aaron Donald playing against that Cincinnati team who's absolutely atrocious. I will be playing them in most formats this week, and I'll let y'all fill it out from there. Real quick over on FanDuel, there's a couple of guys I did not talk about that I wanted to mention on FanDuel. Christian McCaffrey gets the price he deserves. Saquon Barkley, I think, does not. Saquon, kind of a lock for me over here on FanDuel at 8,600. Even playing against my Lions, we got to keep an eye on Damon Snacks Harrison. If Harrison's out, Saquon Barkley will be owned in every single one of my lineups on both sites. If he plays, then Saquon will probably be owned almost in every lineup on FanDuel. Le'Veon Bell, I think, is too cheap at $7K here on FanDuel. You're getting pretty good value out of him. And then actually, Matt Breida over here is just way too cheap. Matt Breida at 5,300. It's hard not to play on FanDuel, in my opinion. So I'd be looking for him. Ty Johnson for Detroit, actually priced below J.D. McKissick. So once we see the Detroit running back situation, I'm definitely going to be looking to play Ty Johnson over here on FanDuel. That's pretty much all I have for you at running back. And then at wide receiver, a really good tournament play is Chris Godwin at 8,100. I just wanted to mention that real quick because when you see this name above this name and above this name, you're not clicking this name, you're clicking these names. It's just how it goes for most people's instincts. A lot of casual players just would not play him when he's priced up there. DK Metcalf, I think, is overpriced this week. I know he's coming off of that fumble or whatever. So I think he actually is a pretty good tournament play. He had that fumble against the Ravens, cost his team, I think, for the most part. I was working, I was unable to watch the game, but definitely looking for a bounce back spot for him. And then I also wanted to mention, I think Marvin Jones is actually a pretty consistent play from here on out. He had that huge monster 4-touchdown week last week. I'm not saying he's going to do that every week. But at 6,300, I'm okay with playing them, especially against this Giants secondary who is weak sauce. And then more value, though, John Brown and Cortland Sutton here, just way too cheap on FanDuel still. D.D. Westbrook, way too cheap on FanDuel still. If you're looking for like tournament value, I would say Mike Williams, Calvin Ridley. I'm okay with taking a dart throw on Emmanuel Sanders in his first game for San Fran. Larry Fitz is also very, very cheap over here on FanDuel. That's pretty much what I'll leave you with at wide receiver. And I didn't just mean to spew off names to spew them off. I'm just trying to save your time and kind of get through the video a little bit. And then here at tight end, pretty much the same situation, except Hunter Henry actually gets the price that he should be at. So definitely not going to be calling him any sort of value there. Greg Olson's a decent value here on FanDuel. Not really in love with any of these guys for paying down at tight end here on FanDuel, to be honest with you. Just don't really like any of them. I'm looking to pay up this week, like I said. Noah Fant actually is an interesting play. I wanted to mention him on Draftkings, but same thing over here on FanDuel. With no Sanders, he should see an uptick in usage, hopefully more targets. He's been getting targets, but he hasn't really been converting them. At least last week he didn't. He hasn't been too inconsistent through the year. He had these two, good target to catch conversion rate, but I definitely think that we could see an uptick in targets for him. So he's an interesting play. And then over here at defense, pretty ugly actually for defense this week. I would probably be looking to go down a little bit rather than have these two coin flip solid defenses and solid matchups. I'm probably going to be looking to drop a little bit. The Colts are what I wanted for value at defense this week, and look what FanDuel did. They said they're playing Denver. We know what you guys are looking for. We're going to put them up at 4,800. Thanks, FanDuel. I'm probably going to be looking to play the Chicago Bears against the Chargers. I'm probably going to be looking to play New Orleans against Arizona. Things like that. I think Buffalo's defense against Philly at 4,300 might be a decent play, but when you really think about 700 over here on FanDuel, it makes me just want to pay up for one of the top two. So I will leave y'all with that. I hope that you found this video informative, educational, and informational. But I'm gonna let y'all take that in for a little early look at Sunday. I'm going to be doing a Thursday Night Football Showdown video tomorrow morning. Make sure you check that out. And then we're going to look for a DraftKings takedown because apparently every time I feel like I give out a cash line, like at the start of the Showdown videos over here on DK, I feel like it just crushes it. And then all my tournament takes just suck. And then on FanDuel, at least the first one there on FanDuel, Sony Michel and your MVP was the play to make. So I'm going to try and go 2 for 2 on the Showdown tomorrow, DraftKings and FanDuel. And if you have not already, as always, please go make a free account over here at dfs-squid.com. It is free. There is no credit card. There's no weird sign-up stuff. All you got to do is just go over there and make a free account. I'm giving out free content. I'm talking lineups, like full lineups, final lineups. So take my information with what you will, but if you're not getting over there and at least taking some of the free content we give out, then you're just missing out at this point. So I look forward to seeing you guys over there. Feel free to tweet me, comment on the video, and let's crush it this week 8.